I'd like to make an illustration here of a story called The Princess and the Frog, okay? Now, my point is that you need very, very, very short stories in your lessons and not long storytelling. So, when you're looking at that, there's a long story about the princess, about the frog. They were in the forest, and the princess was lonely, and the frog was a prince who was a spell, a magic spell. And now there's a long story. But essentially, what really goes on is that you have a princess looking for the prince, and when she kissed the prince, he became, okay, when you kiss the frog, he became the prince, and they lived ever happily after. So the first one is a long story. The second is a short story. Call it the hyper story and a very, very short story. So why do we use a short story? We use a short story because immediately we want to allow the learners to relate the stories in their own real life situation. Give them more time because the story is very short. They allow the learners to be able to interpret and reflect on the lessons from that particular story. And of course, the final thought was that you allow the learners to bring in a story related to this. So when you have a very long story, they don't have a chance to do that. But you have a tiny, tiny, tiny story, you allow them to be able to have more time to own up a story that is related to the short story that you presented. Here, we allow the learners to really learn and use the story that you've created. Try the idea.